When is it time to replace the sump pump? There are a few appliances in the home that are probably taken for granted. You might not even consider them to be appliances even, since you don't use them regularly. One of these devices is the sump pump in your home. This appliance just runs when it needs to, keeps the basement dry, and stays out of the way until there's a problem with it. When there is a problem, it's usually a big one, and you'll want to call your plumber to fix it immediately. Importance and reliability. The sump pump is the system that runs in the basement to keep any excess water from building up. A plumber installs a sump pump normally when a house is being built, but it can also be added into a house later on. A sump pump is just one piece of a system of pipes and drains that directs water from and around the walls of the basement. It also directs the water away from the house into a drain. The water usually flows into a ditch or even to a water system if you live in a town. If there isn't a sump pump in your house, it could be because of a couple of reasons. The first is that you might be lucky enough to live in a very dry area or live in an area with a high elevation where water has never been a problem. You also might not have a basement and don't need to worry about water seeping through the floor. There might not be a sump pump in your house because it's older than when the systems were created, or the people building the house didn't want to spend the money. If there isn't a sump pump in the basement, it might be worth serious consideration to get one put in. A heavy rain could back up the storm system of the ditches and push water back into the house, and then it could start leaking through the walls. Without a sump pump to push the water out, your basement will flood and it'll turn into a real mess. A plumber can install a sump pump system in the house so that any drainage can be funneled away from the house. The process will require digging around the house and in the floor of the basement, but it will keep all of your valuables in the house dry and protected. Time for a replacement. When there's already a sump pump in place, that's great, especially for you. How can you tell if it's time to invest in a newer system that won't fail when it rains? Have a plumber inspect your current sump pump. Do all of the parts work? Does it have a battery backup in case the power goes out when a storm hits? A plumber can recommend the correct size of a sump pump to handle the water that could build up around your house. For any of your sump pump needs, you can always contact your local plumber.